Hey y'all, it's Tiara, and I'm back with another solved a murder case. So before I even start, I just want to say, doing this case and doing the research on this case, it took me to a whole nother headspace. I mean, all murders are terrible, but this one right here, it literally shows money is the root of all evil, especially when it's coming from someone close to you trying to do you harm. It's like, it's terrible. If you want to hurt somebody that you're close to because money is involved, you're like the scum of the earth to me. There's no forgiving that. Because I feel like if you close to me and I'm up, we up together, right? Anyway, before I get mad again, let's get into it. So, Yolanda Holmes, she was a 45-year-old woman from Chicago, Illinois. And she had one son named Qawmane Wilson. And her and Kwame's dad weren't together. They separated when he was little. It was like allegations of abuse going on, so they separated. So it was just her and Kwame in the house. She wanted to give her son the best life. She worked hard. When she got older, she established her own salon called Nappy Head Salon in Uptown Chicago. And that's a pretty okay neighborhood in Chicago. It's like 53% less crime. So she settled in, she got her own salon. She was real successful, like very successful. But it wasn't all just about the money to her. She would put her money back into the community. She would do food drive, back to school drives for the kids, things for the homeless. She just wanted to make sure her community was taken care of, just like they took care of her. Also, her son was raised in a salon. And a lot of people know if you have a parent that owns a salon or works in a salon, 90% of the time, you're going to grow up in a salon. You're going to be there with your parent after school till they close. You're going to be there. So, if she was taking care of her community like that, imagine what she was doing for her blood. She gave everything to her son, Kwame. Like, he was a spoiled brat. He got everything he wanted. And one day she told him, like, Kwame, you got to be a man. You got to get out, get a job. I can't keep taking care of you. And that's understandable, right? He's growing up. He's being a man. He has to get out in the world and do for himself. It's almost time for him to start taking care of his mom. So Kwame didn't like that. So what Kwame did was he gets on the phone and he calls up one of his friends. And his friend's name was Ernest Spencer and Loriana Johnson, right? So he calls Ernest like, yeah, I want you to do me a favor. I'm going to pay you $50,000, blah, 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 whatever, right? So Ernest says, okay, like he's down with it. Ernest needs money, whatever. He's like, cool. He hits up Loriana. So he says, yeah, I need you to do me a favor. I'm going to pay you, blah, blah, blah. Right? So, the night of the murder, September 2nd, 2012, Kwame calls his mom and says, Mom, I'm running late. Leave the door unlocked. So her being a good mother, like she was, she leaves her apartment door unlocked for her son to come in and get into the apartment. So it's late. Yolanda is in her bedroom with her boyfriend, and she gets a call on the intercom. So she has to buzz the person in, and then they'll come upstairs and enter the apartment. So the person buzzes the apartment doorbell. She lets them in. She couldn't really hear that the voice that was coming through the intercom is, intercoms are like kind of muffled, kind of staticky or whatever. So it's just a guy's voice. So she assumes that it's Kwame, so she buzzes him in. The person comes upstairs, enters the apartment, shoots Kwame's mother in the head. The guy picks up the phone, calls Kwame, and says, the job is done. What should I do now? You know what Kwame said? Stab her up. Make sure that bitch is dead. This is your mother. Your mother. All because you don't want to get up, get a job, be a man, and take care of yourself. So if y'all haven't guessed it already, the person that came in and intruded on her house was his friend Eugene. He hired Eugene to go in and kill his mother. But what Kwame and Eugene didn't know was Yolanda's boyfriend was there. So as he kills Yolanda, the boyfriend is there and surprises him. But he doesn't kill the boyfriend. All he does is pistol whip him and knock him unconscious. So when Eugene leaves the house, he's so stupid because he had a pair of earphones in his ear. He left an earphone there. So he leaves a very important piece of evidence at the crime scene. You leave your earphone at the crime scene. So now Yolanda's dead. Her boyfriend is knocked unconscious from being pistol whipped. So now Eugene leaves the house. He meets up with Qawmane and Loriana, which both of them, Qawmane and Loriana, are in a car. So Loriana's whole role in this was to be the getaway driver. So Qawmane tried to distance himself from everything. He didn't want to drive the car. He didn't want to do the murder. So he hired these two quote unquote friends to do this for him. Okay? So the cops are called. The boyfriend calls the cops, and the cops are questioning him like, why did it take you so long to call us? Mind you, he was unconscious. It took him a while to regain his consciousness, right? So once the police come, they assess the scene. They're getting all their evidence together. They're trying to find their suspects. They're trying to find any witnesses. They're getting camera surveillance, all of that, right? So they never even thought about Kwame. They didn't even look at him. They started to look at the boyfriend. They started to look at Kwame's father because of the alleged abuse that was going on between her and the father, Yolanda and the father, right? So they're looking at everybody else except Kwame. But what made them zoom in on Kwame is a couple of weeks after his mother's death, he's posting videos and rap songs and dance videos and throwing money in the air at his quote unquote fans, buying cars, giving his friends thousands of dollars, like just doing the most. And he is drawing a big target on his back. Because what are you doing? And to give my opinion, he wasn't that good. He wasn't a good actor. He wasn't a good rapper. Like, so I don't. Did you pay these fans to act like they were fans? Did you pay these people to act like they were your fans? Because it's no way I could see that these people really enjoyed your music. So anyway, so the cops are like, who acts like this? He's taking pictures in front of these expensive foreign cars. Like, who acts like this? Your mother just died. So the police found out that if the mother died, he would get, she had 2 life insurance policies. So all of that money would go to Kwame. The 2 life insurance policies, also $90,000 that she had in her savings account in the bank. So all of that would go to Kwame. And he knew that. He knew that. So when the police found this out and they see his behavior on social media, they like, hold up, something not right. Something is not right. You acting like this, throwing money in the air and throwing $100 bills out the window, and your mom just died. Yeah, something not right. So they start looking in on him. They look at the apartment security camera, and that night when Yolanda buzzed that person in, which was Eugene, when Yolanda buzzed Eugene in, he had on a big black hoodie. You couldn't see his face. And he had a change of clothes with him. So he could change his clothes after he did the murder, right? So when he came back out, he had on a whole different set of clothes. And they could tell it was him from the build of his body. They could tell it was him. So they also got that earphone. In the surveillance camera, they see Eugene with a pair of earphones in. And they see when he comes out, he only has one of those earphones in. So you just gave yourself up. So they do their investigating. They find Eugene. They find Kwame. and they pop up at Loriana's job. She was working at some hair store, child. They pop up at her job. They bring in all three of them. Eugene cracks like that. Like that. When the cops question him, he tells them that Qawmane hired him to murder his mom. Qawmane gave that guy $75. I'm sorry. Qawmane gave him $75 that night to murder his mom. 75 didn't give him anything. So even though Eugene is telling the cops everything, Qawmane is still trying to maintain his innocence. Like, dummy, your friend just told on you. They get the phone records from Eugene, and they see that Eugene called Qawmane's phone at the time of the murder. So it's like, you're still trying to maintain your innocence for what? Just own up to what you did and pay the consequences. Like, that's on you. All of this for some money? You kill your mom for money? Like, that's just, like, baffling to me. That is, like, insane. So everyone in the shop that Yolanda was working with, they never thought it could be Qawmane. And when they found out that it was heartbreaking. Naturally, like, it's heartbreaking. That's your child. He grew up in this salon with us. So 3 years have gone by. It's 2015 now. And at their trial, the jury literally took 2 hours to find Eugene Spencer and Qawmane Wilson guilty of first-degree murder, home invasion, and attempted murder. Qawmane was given 99 years in prison. Eugene was given 100 years in prison. Now, Loriana, she was found guilty of armed robbery, and she was only given 15 years in prison. And she was supposed to be released in 2020, which I do believe she is released. She was released last summer, I believe, 2020, summertime. This took a whole lot of weight off of Yolanda's boyfriend, because he was being accused of having something to do with her murder. Since he was there that night when everything happened. But he loved Yolanda. And for him to find out that it was her son that did this, that like made it even worse. Not only did he have to go years with being accused of having something to do with her murder, but now to find out that her son did it, like, that was just like the nail in the coffin. Her friends, Yolanda's family, they were all relieved to find out what happened, but it hurt even more to know that it was her own son, someone that grew up, someone that they watched grow up. They helped raise Kwame. And for him to do this over money, it was like they couldn't believe it. And I feel for her family. Like, I feel for her friends, the people that she worked with in the salon. And I know he is sitting in jail. Qawmane is sitting in jail regretting everything that he did, because his mom was a good mom. People would die to have a mom like that. She took so much care of her son. Her son was her world, and I know he regrets that every day. But every action has a consequence, and money is the root of all evil. Like, I will never be able to wrap my head around that. Like, it literally made me sick to my stomach. But God rest her soul. Rest in peace, Miss Yolanda Holmes. And Qawmane Wilson, you will never see the light of day, child. So that's it for me, y'all. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Bye.